Hi everyone, welcome to the third part of this fish page using Black Widow's pencils. Today we're using the Cobra set, so that's going to be interesting. And yes, this is from Small Victories by Johanna Basford, just in case you haven't seen any of the others. I'm just going to dust the page off a little bit and come in a bit closer so we can get started. Now the sun is actually coming in on the desk, it's not coming in on the bit of book that I'm going to be colouring on, so I'm hoping it's going to be okay. I've popped my lamp on, so I'm thinking it should be balanced enough. I hope so. Right, let's have a little look at this set and think about colours. I'm half tempted to do a red fish because we have a couple of reds, but we have a lot of yellows and oranges. We've got orange fish already, so I'm thinking pink, purple. We've got gorgeous purples in this set, so let's do that. Okay, I am going to start with the grape. It's a really lovely colour. I'm going to do all the fins like we did on the others. If you haven't watched the others, don't worry, I will show you anyway, and you can catch up later if you want to do the others with me. Now, I did say in an earlier video in this series that I wasn't sure if I had put together a chart for Black Widows. Now what I have got, I had a little look in between videos because I was going to record this straight after the other two and my camera battery was flat, so I couldn't. So I did a bit of research in between times and worked out that in my Ko-fi shop I do have a swatch chart for all Black Widows pencils, which might be of use to some of you. But those of you who haven't got Black Widows, I did a comparison chart between Black Widows and polychromos. I know not all of you will have black polychromos either, but it was just for those of you that do, might be useful. So I did that. So there is that chart that you can grab. So if you aren't sure about colour, which ones to use, then that might be able to help you, hopefully anyway. Excuse me, I mean I did find it a little bit tricky because there were a lot of peaches in the Black Widows. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil a little bit, which we don't get very much of in polychromos, and there was also a lot of pinks. Wow, now that's quite a sharp point. I don't think that's going to hold for long. Now what I want to do with these fins is to make them a little darker near the body. Oh, that sun's out again. It's on my hand. Let's move my hand out of shot so it's not distracting you. And then put a little bit on the edge of each fin, so here, and then just sort of try and fade it a little bit. And then same here. We did a similar thing on the other fish, so hopefully it would all sort of tie in and make sense. Like that. I hope everyone's well today. For me it is Sunday. I don't always record on a Sunday because it's sort of family time, but I wanted to get this done because I'm excited about finishing the page, but also family are all busy. My son is about to do a live YouTube anyway. He usually does it on a Saturday, but he was out having his haircut yesterday, as I would mentioned in the earlier videos, and so he's doing it today instead. And my other son will just be playing away and watching videos, so he won't be very sociable. And husband is going to a AGM. That means annual general meeting, for those of you that don't know. Our local town art cooperative are having their meeting, yearly meeting. And what happens in these meetings generally is that they talk about, review the year before, and then talk about what they're going to achieve or try to do in their new year. Now he's just joined as a member. He said it was so cheap, it's £20 a year to be a member, and he obviously loves his art. He likes buying art, looking at other people's art and doing art, and so he thought he would go along. What they do is they help artists to sell their art locally by putting on exhibitions. Now that's that one. We're going to use the space now, which is another purple very dark purple. I'm going to do the face with this one, and then we'll do the body in the slightly lighter, I think, purple haze. So we'll do that, and hopefully I can beat the sun, okay, because I don't want the sun coming round before I'm done. I'm just going to block that bit in. I think it'll look nice like that. And the top part I'm going to do quite lightly. It's the same as I did on the very first fish, maybe a little bit more here, but lighter as we go towards the tip of its nose. Yeah, so what they do is they'll hire a venue and then charge the members of the group to show their art in that exhibition, and that, you know, it's also for sale. But because it's split between all of them, the cost, I'm just going to sharpen, it's much more affordable, because obviously hiring a venue on your own as an artist, pencil's just broken, is expensive. So it's a way to make it more affordable. So I thought, so it sounds interesting. He's sort of got an ambition to just sell one piece of art, you know, but I think he could certainly manage that easily. But it's a confidence thing as well, isn't it? I mean, we all know about that, you know, and looking at, you can very easily look at other people's and think, well, they're just so much better than me. But of course we have to remember, I just need to sharpen my next pencil. My sharpener is full. Hang on. We have to remember that everyone has a different taste in art, and some people will enjoy certain things and others different things, so we can't just guess whether people are going to like our work or not. So I'm now using the purple haze, and I'm going to go right over the body of the fish, avoiding the florals and leaves. So I think it's yes, some people will love it and some people won't. Something that I have managed to actually, I think, convince my family of is that I'm not going to become an artist that sells my art. They obviously, as a colouring book artist, you can't sell the art that you do. They were always saying to me, oh, you should draw your own and colour it, and then you can sell it and all that sort of thing. It's like, but I can't draw. Oh, you should learn. It's like, I don't want to. You know, I think they've actually, after me colouring for 10 years, they've realised that I'm not going to learn to draw and do proper art, as they would consider it to be. I'm quite happy doing this, and I'm still learning a lot all the time, and it's fun to share it with other people too. And this is the way I want to express myself. And just because someone has drawn the picture, it doesn't mean you have no creativity. You know, there are so many creative decisions still to make on any picture. Colour, style of colouring, blending, shading, backgrounds, you know, there's so much. Media, you know, to use pens, pencils, mix, you know, there's lots and lots. So it's definitely still a very creative thing, in my opinion. And there are some very brilliant artists, although when I see someone who's really good, who draws in a background, and you know, or they might use some watercolour to put background, to draw their background in, or they might draw it in pencil or in pastel, and I sort of think, you are so good, why are you using a colouring book at all? Why aren't you just doing your own? But I guess it's the starting point, isn't it? Right, I'm going to put a little bit more intense colour on the edges now. You know, even if you can draw really good pictures, it doesn't mean to say that you just are automatically easily inspired as to what to do, and seeing someone else's work can help you get going. And I think sometimes some colouring books do that too for us. If they have some of them will have a completed page on the one side and a blank page on the other, so you can copy. I think that can be useful for people who just aren't sure about what colour to use. And the same as for watching and following a video. You can choose to use the colours that that I'm using, and then you don't have to choose. But of course, you've always got the option of doing your own thing. And I feel that I see people who have followed my videos, and some of them, I'm just tidying up by the way, some of them by trying to make it look more even and making sure it's going up to the lines. Some people copy exactly what I do and learn that way. Some people change some of the colours up. I'm just going to find a grey for his eye, and some people dim grey. Some people do something quite different. So I'm going to make it darker here and here. And I think for some people, just watching me colour inspires them to have a go, but not necessarily the same picture, not necessarily in the same way, and that's great. Any way that it works is great. Now, I'm looking at my greens and I'm having a little think, because we have this green here which is called Cobra, and it's really yellowy and I don't think it's going to really work. So I'm going to miss that one out, and I'm going to start with the Venom, which is more of a bluey green, which I think goes much nicer with a purple. So here it is, the Venom, and I think I'm just going to start on these just because. No reason really. But I think that following tutorials can be great for increasing your confidence too. I follow them still, and I started off by following quite a few. I've never followed Johanna Basford's, interestingly. Not because I don't like them, I really do, but she doesn't tell you what colours she uses, because on purpose she feels you should be choosing your own, which is fair. So I sort of feel like she almost, it's not a tutorial, it's just her colouring and chatting, so it isn't meant to be copied, you know. I don't feel like that's what its purpose is, if you know what I mean. So I tend not to follow those, but she does do beautiful colouring. I'm certainly inspired by it. This is the opal green, and I'm going to do all the little, these little leaves. I'm going to do these the same as, actually no I'm not. I'm just going to do the little ones on these little flowers first and then have a think. I think we'll do it that way. We do have a limited amount of greens, but we can always mix them together, which is something we haven't needed to do or done yet, but maybe we will. Maybe we will. We'll see how we get on. But even, you know, thinking about colour combinations that you can take inspiration for and things like that. Something I also do is look at completed pictures sometimes, and that helps me. For example, I usually go to Pinterest, to be honest, and if I want to see something completed, and just to, because sometimes there's something in a picture and I don't know what it's supposed to be, and although I could just use my imagination and try, I tend to go and look and see what other people have done just to help me. This is called Forest, and we're going to do these. Now the leaves, I didn't really tell you, I'm just making them a little bit darker at the base and lighter towards the tip. It's a little bit difficult to do, to be honest, because these dark colours and the small spaces, but I'm trying. This one is a little bit more olivey and it goes really well with the Cobra, but as I say, I'm not using the Cobra today, but I think I might change my mind and use the Cobra, but in an interesting way. So I'm going to use the opal green first on these little clusters of leaves here. I'm going to try and fade towards the tip and keep it lightish. Don't push down too hard, because I'm going to put the Cobra on top, and I think it might end up looking a bit like the forest, but I'm just going to have a play with it and see what happens. I just feel like I want to try and make a different green. There we go. Now green is made from blue and yellow. Here we are with the Cobra. So if you haven't got a green in your set and you want to make one, that's the way you make one. Sometimes it doesn't work as well as, I shouldn't have gone over those, should I? Sometimes it doesn't work as well as you might hope. I'm going to pretend I didn't do that because it's because I'm talking. Because this is the nugget. Sometimes a really dark blue just doesn't really mix with the yellow to make green. I'm going to try and keep this darker at the bottom, but it's actually quite a pale colour. No, the end makes me think that it would be really orangey, but it isn't really, is it? There we go. Hang on. I've got quite a mess here. I'm just going to reorganise my pencils. I hope you don't mind. Take just a minute. You can catch up if you're colouring along, perhaps, or do a little more. And I'm going to pick my next yellow in a moment. We have a mustard. I'm going to use the mustard. I'm going to use it far away from this one so it doesn't, although we've only got 3 more. I'm going to use this one. I can hear my dryer has finished. Just go and sort that out in a minute. There we go. And then I'm going to pick, I've got a light yellow. I think the other colour is gold. I think I'm going to go for the gold. It's really pale. Look, it looks almost white to me. But when it goes down, you can just about see it. Gold is not a good name. I think this should be called cream. It's so pale. But hopefully I can see it just a bit. Now, I rather like the flowers white. But we're not going to leave them white because... I don't know why, I haven't got a reason, we're just not. This is bubblegum, and I'm going to do all these little round ones in this pink. No, the reason I'm not leaving them white is because it'll look like I forgot to colour them. So I don't tend to do white flowers, although I want to learn. I'm sure I saw, oh yes, interestingly, someone suggested Helen Elliston is bringing out a new book. Colour, what's it called? Colorist Special Effects 4 is the new one. It's not ready yet. And someone suggested that I ask her to teach us how to do white flowers. So I did. I didn't get a response, but I'm hoping that she got the message. And we'll see, because that would be very useful. Because, yeah, they're hard, aren't they? Right, I'm tempted to do another pink because I've got another pink, but they're quite similar. So I think I'm not. I think I might grab a red, do a red. This is the blood diamond. I might do this one here. Though this one looks like a lovely daisy to me, but we're going to do it red. Daisies don't really come in red. Now we don't have any blue in this set, so we can't sort of balance it with a blue, so I've got to think of a different colour. I'm trying to make the tips a little bit lighter, but I still want to make sure they've got quite a lot of colour in. So I'm just over colouring the centre bit a little bit more to make it a bit darker, whereas the pink ones I didn't really do anything with them, I just put some colour down because of their shape. Now I'm thinking about the bubbles in this picture. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to use, I think, yeah, it's in here, a bit of pastel for the background just to make a sort of watery look, and then put the bubbles, use some glitter pen or something for the bubbles. I got them in here, yeah. Now I might just use a clear glitter pen, but you can use one that's a bit more coloured. I'm just trying to decide what colour. I think I might go orange because I have got a tulip, but it's purple, and my fish is purple. I want the flowers to be a different colour. That's what we've done in all of the other ones. So I'm going to use this colour called Fire, which is orangey for these flowers. And again, after sharpening, I'm going to make them a little darker in the middle and lighter towards the tip. So if you aren't doing a background and you just want to colour the bubbles, well, there are lots and lots of ways to approach it. But what I would probably do was either colour them in the Aquarius from this Cobra set. It's a good colour. In fact, I might do that. I might colour them in to show you and then I might go over them with a glitter as well. Let's do that, and then I can show you how I would do it. I think that's a good idea, just so you can have a go. Now bubbles are hard, and I'm not going to try and make them look realistic or anything. I'm just going to have a bit of a fun play with some colour. So they're not going to be, there's lots of ways you can do bubbles. You can make them look iridescent with a mixture of pinks and purples and things like that, or you can try and make them, use white to make them look see-through and all this sort of thing, and we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep it really straightforward. So that's the end of that colour. So I'm going to grab, as I said, the Aquarius. This is for me quite a watery colour, and I'll show you. So what I'm going to do is put more colour at the bottom and then just fade it up and leave a little bit of white around the top. Can you see that? I don't know if you can. Now it's not perfect. It might be easier to use a white pen, but I'm not convinced it will be for me. Let's do these ones for this fish in the same way. Like that, sorry, concentration time. And then these. And then once you've done this, you could just leave it. You don't have to do any more. But I'm gonna, as I say, just do a little pastel-y background. Now I want it to be fairly even. I don't want, sometimes I might make the pastel a little darker in the corners to sort of make it look a bit more interesting, but I feel that as we're, oops, just knock over my sharpener, as we're sort of in the water, it might be quite evenish. My only concern is I don't know how smudgy these Black Widows are going to be with the pastel on top. So we'll have to, it's a bit of a risk. I'm just getting a little cotton pad. These I wash and reuse. I need to wash a load of them at the minute because I've got lots of very dirty ones. Now I'm getting out, these are my Mungio soft pastels. Sun is shining. I'm going to move my book across. Oops, not my paper, this across, you can see the sun there, never mind. And let's have a look at all the colours. Ooh, it's gone so dusty. I don't know what's happened. That's very strange. Never had that happen before. But this is the colour that I usually use for water, and that's what I'm going to use today, but it's got a lot of dust on top of it. So what I'm just going to do is just turn it over like that so we haven't got the dust. The others are also dusty. I don't know what's going on there, and I'm just going to turn it round so it's a bit easier for me to reach. I've carried it in from next door, so I can only assume. Now you see I've got a little bit from the pastel next to it, so that isn't what I wanted to do. So I'm going to try again. Now if you put your fingers on pastel, you get pastel-y fingers. I'm just wiping that off on my... Now if you put your fingers on the page, you get fingerprints. So I'm going to try and avoid touching the page and put my finger on top of the fish instead. What you could do is use a piece of paper to hold the page down, or another cotton pad. I don't think I've got any more clean ones, so that isn't an option for me. My only problem is I'm thinking I need to wash mine, but I don't actually have a free radiator to dry them on at the moment, so that might not work. So you can see what I am doing. I'm scraping a little bit onto my pad, and then I'm just applying it to the paper in a circular movement. I've picked up a bit of blue there, which is transferred onto my page. It's not going to hurt too much because our sea doesn't need to be all exactly the same colour. Now soft pastels, if you haven't used them before, they vary a lot in price. These are only the second set I've ever had. These are a budget set. I'm quite happy with them. I don't know what's happened with all this dust today, but they don't normally do that. My only problem is there's not enough yellows. I'm using them all up. You can see this one is very small, this one's quite small, and these two are those there that are quite small too. And although I don't like colouring in yellow with pencil, I love using yellow pencil. Sense? No, doesn't make sense. So that is a bit of a problem for me. Faber-Castell do a set which are similar colours to their pencils, I think, which could be useful. And there are lots of different sets. In fact, my art shop sells these, which is quite interesting. I didn't buy these from my art shop, these were from Amazon. But yes, it's quite interesting that they do that. They call them, I think they're called Inscribe pastels, so they're sold under a different brand name, but if you look inside, the colours are identical, they're the same. I don't know why they're sold under a different name. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing very well, I shouldn't imagine. But yes, and of course there are some very expensive ones you can buy. Now Karen Dash does some, but I think hers are oil pastels and I don't know how to use those. You can get these as well. These are pan pastels. These are really, really expensive. I'm going to use a bit of one of these in a minute, just for fun. But and to show you, just because I've remembered I've got them. And you can buy Senelia pastels. They're weird. They're chalk pastels. They're soft. They rub on just like these, but they have an almost oily feel. It's very weird. Right, I'm happy with that base. Now I don't know how clear it is to you, whether you can see it very well. It looks very pale in my camera, but to my eye there's enough. Now this pan pastel is a white fine pearl medium, so it's an iridescent pastel, and I'm going to put it on top to make it look like we've got some shine on our water. I don't even think you can see it in the light. I can't, so I'm sure you can't. So I apply these in the same way. I've got a lot of green on my hand, but apparently they're much better if you use the actual applicators that pan pastels sell, but I don't have those. Now what I'm going to do with this is tap it on rather than smear. Now what I find is that if I smear this on, the iridescence doesn't show up. If I tap it, it does. Now I think I'm going to put this over the whole thing, including the fish, because they're in the water. So they're going to be quite, oops, that's a bit too much. They're going to be shiny too. So I'm going to keep just patting. Now there's probably a proper technique to using these that I just don't know about. Can you see how the fish is faded because he's got this on top of him now? That I don't know. So yes, there's probably some sort of really fancy way of doing it, perhaps with their tools and things like that. But I haven't even got their tools on my wish list. I think I'm a bit scared that if I get too attracted to using them that I might want them all. They're so expensive. Right. Now I'm going to turn that to the light. I better put these away. To see whether I've covered it all. I'm going to put it in the sun so you can't actually see. I think I've covered most of it. I'm going to brush off all the loose bits, which hopefully won't brush off everything. Let me see. Whoops. Yeah, I can still see some sparkle, but it's really difficult to see. I'm going to put the lid back on that. And what I'm going to do is add a sparkly pen to the bubbles before we finish. So I have got this number 700 jelly roll. And I'm going to, because I need to lean on the book, I'm going to use this pad to lean on and just go over these. Now, where I left the white bit at the top of each bubble, it's now watercoloured because the pastel's gone on top of it. But you may want to go over that with white to make it stand out more. But I'm quite happy with it having that blue. I'm not even sure if this pen is doing anything because I can't see. The problem is it's so light in here that I can't there's no reflection of light anywhere. My lamp is being extremely ineffective. Now let me just check. I'm not entirely sure if that has even written anything. Hang on. I just scribbled on some rough paper. When I say rough paper, by the way, I mean scrap paper. Ah, now it's coming out. That's better. I don't know what was going on there. I think sometimes they get blocked with glitter. The rollerball. Now that's definitely coming out. I can see it now. I don't know if you can, but it's definitely got some shine. There we go. So that is my finished picture. I'm just gonna get rid of that. So because it's so bright in here, I don't know how well you can see the line of pastel around my paper. So I'm not sure how well it's showing up really, but believe me, there is some sparkle on the page. There's a little bit of iridescent look to it, and I can see the bubbles are sparkly. Now the pastel is actually fairly uneven, and I'm quite pleased with that because I think even might look a little bit odd. So there we go. Even might look odd. What is she on about? Anyway, there we go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have a really super day and happy colouring.